So say, in my little trilemma, which all of you have described, we end up negotiating our own free trade agreement. So the single market is not what we're going to be remaining in. We're not going to have a union that puts us in a customs union. We are in a world in which we have a comprehensive free trade agreement with the European Union, and we negotiate our own trade deals. How likely are we to get good free trade agreements with the major economies of the world? Who should we be looking at? Gideon.
Well, I mean, I must say the only foreigners I've met who said that they thought Brexit was a good idea were Australians, New Zealanders and Singaporeans. So, I mean, at a sort of reasonably kind of senior levels. But the trouble with Australia, I mean, is there are not that many of them. You know, it's a great place, but it's not a huge market.
Sorry to any Aussies out there.
No, I mean, you know, it's good luck to them. But I think that so there's something unreal. I mean, that whole sort of white Commonwealth thing is a bit difficult, just because the market's not large enough. It's very far away. I guess they would look at India, but the immigration issue came up
wants easier migration,
exactly.
Yeah,
So that's
and visas.
difficult.
Yep.
The US, but Trump is so erratic that you know, I think that Obama's back of the queue comment backfired, as we now know. But I think he was actually more or less describing reality rather than issuing a threat. There's not much appetite for trade agreements with the US, in the US now. They just sank the TPP and so on. They might be willing to do one with Britain, but the problem there is that the US is one of the few countries that Britain runs a large trade surplus with. And they would probably want to open up service industries and so on. So I'm not sure how much there is for Britain in that, but we'll see.
Actually, the US, they've just done a report. Trump has commissioned a report on all the countries which run a trade surplus with the US. The UK is going to turn up on that list pretty soon. Charles.
It's worth pointing out that what I think, again, others know more than me, but what the Americans, Canadians, New Zealanders and Australians will want from Britain is access to our agricultural markets. They want to dump cheap food on us, which they can produce
cheap wine
more efficiently than we can. And the Tory party is traditionally the friend of the farmers, and I'm not sure politically how easily they can open up our markets to let in foreign farm goods that easily. And that, of course, creates problems with the EU, because if we do let in New Zealand farm goods into Britain, then we won't be able to do a deal on farming with the EU, which will have very strong views on that. The other point to make, Linda, is that from talking to a few of these Commonwealth governments concerned, including the Americans, not in the Commonwealth, they want to wait, actually. Whatever Trump says, the officials in the USTR want to wait and see, because the deal that Britain gets with the EU will matter hugely for the kind of FTA that the US or anybody else will want to do with the UK. So I think the idea that Liam Fox is going to be busy negotiating new FTAs in the next 5 years is just not true. What he will do, if he's got any sense, is make sure that the existing 50-something FTAs that the EU has with other countries get echoed, get copied and pasted for the UK, which would be quite a task in itself.